we're going to do a little Q&A from some of the questions you guys have asked that I have. Some people ask, when did you get started? We grew up with this. I grew up as a little kid. My dad always took us caving and hiking and all the outdoor things. We live in the Pacific Northwest corner of the United States. It's just hiking, trails. We're an outdoor family. We live out in the woods. And Jacob's been that way since he was born too. How old were you when I took you to the top of the volcano?
9, 10, between 9 and 10.
What was that trip like?
We took a trip to an active volcano in Washington, Mount St. Helens, to the top of it and looked into the crater. And that crater is a couple miles wide. It's gigantic. It's just so big. It's just...
What was your worst experience caving?
Probably
like the worst
Death Drop Cave. That, on the way back, it was ice raining, but the ice rain was still thawed, so it hit you just thawed, and it was freezing. You couldn't feel your fingers, your toes, like they were numb, and it was just pouring down ice rain, and it just sucked, and we had a long hike back to the truck.
We don't post everything. If we're really suffering, we don't post it because people don't need to see us cry or like almost die. I don't want to make people mad with what we go through. But when we got out of that cave, we couldn't feel anything.
Even going into the cave.
And I was like too tired to cry.
Right.
But I wanted to.
We were so cold we had to edit out most of the adventure because
we edited
had panic in our voices.
We edited out the whole end. Like I put it into a different video in there because we were just shaking and convulsing and Jacob was on the brink of just breaking down. We were packing our stuff out. We have a little bit of that. You could just see how wet it was from the GoPro. It was also fogged up. Yeah, it was tough. It's tough where I have to tell Jacob, it's like we're good hikers, but you have to stay sharp. You may get in your life where you just kind of want to give up. You have to stay, we say stay in the pocket. It's a boxing term. You have to stay alert and aware of what you're doing and don't allow yourself to break down. There are things that we do that we, like with Death Drop Cave, where we're bleeding and YouTube doesn't like blood, it doesn't like violence, it doesn't like real danger, or we could get demonetized. We'll put that stuff on the second channel. If it's really horrific, it will only go here on the Patreon channel. We can put videos to private and link them to Patreon, so only Patreon subscribers can watch when we're really like,
oh, that's cool,
like the spiders on the face kind of stuff. Why don't you tell us about the process of early on caving in constrictive passages and the fear versus how you feel about it now?
Well, originally we only went a couple 100 feet in a cave, at most 1,000 feet, and that was just once. The second time I went caving was a 5th grade field trip to the Ape Caves, and that was fun. And Dead Horse, the first time I went to the rat hole, that was scary because we didn't even go in.
That's right.
Uncle went in head first. He saw a rat. The rat was
I just looked. I didn't even go all the way in.
Yeah, he just looked, and the rat's like, it just hissed. He's like, nope, I'm out. And then so we pulled him back out, and we didn't go into the rat hole until a different trip, and then we actually went in.
Sometimes we go to a cave, and we're uncertain of an area, and so we don't actually explore it. We'll go back again. We have equipment we send in to make sure it's safe. Sometimes we go in 4 or 5 times. We went in Three Sings Cave. I went in personally 17 times. Before we dove,
I'd done it 8 times. Most of those were not on camera. First time we went just to look at it.
Most of the time that we go through that you see is like the last time.
I think surface caves are more scary for they are always filled with spiders.
Yep.
They never get above a foot tall. Like very rarely do they ever get above a foot tall. They're always warm at an odd point where you can't really, it's like warm air. It doesn't feel like oxygen. And also it's just so spiky, and because it's just where lava goes like that and droops down, so there's spikes and you have to crawl over them, and it like grabs your clothing and rips it. and
Clothes shredders.
yes.
One thing that we would like to see is there's a lot of cavers, even on YouTube, that go caving and they act like it's all horrible and constrictive. And it's like, you come here and go in a lava tube. Like, it is like constrictive, but with nails. Like, you're not going to make it through a body size squeezer. Number one question in our caving videos, why?
Why not?
Right. The real answer is...
It's fun. You can get out of the house. Fun. And
skydiving's fun, man.
Getting away from my family, mostly.
There you go.
Being cooped up in the house too long.
It's fun. It offers you an opportunity to get away. It's the same thing for me as an adult, getting away. It's just, I think it's fun, but I also love it because we're discovering and going through a world that does not exist to other humans, and it's right here. It's the last frontier. I also like to do it because it's challenging. Caves are relentlessly uncomfortable for most people, but I love that it's a challenge, and I love that it's a unique challenge. There's something psychological that happens when you're in a tight spot, and it's hard to explain. It is probably similar to the thrill of skydiving where you're cheating death. Being in a tight spot in a cave, though, it's not technically very dangerous, but it's technically difficult enough to where your body in some places mentally is uncertain of its future. Like, you know, when you were in Double Eagle, you're like, I might die.
Or
it's a maybe.
When you're in a tight spot and you want to get out, and you're like pushing the walls to get out, you can't. That's like 40 feet thick of obsidian. Good luck.
So you start to panic. You get in a tight spot and you panic, and you realize you can't panic because your body can't buck. That's what you want to do, is you want to push away. There's no pushing away. So part of you has to be in charge of the part of you that's a coward, or that's afraid, or maybe has common sense. And you have to say, no, you be quiet, and you settle down. And there's no one to tell you that. You have to tell yourself, settle down, and you have to push that down. And the part of you that tells your body what to do and your mind what to do becomes strong. Like, you're stronger now.
Right.
Like the part of me that says, you get up and go to the gym today. You get up and do hard work today. You be kind today. The things that I don't want to do naturally, that part of you becomes really strong when you're in a constrictive passage, because it has to be the dominant force, because it will be. You don't have a choice. You can't panic. So then I go home. This is what happens to me. And I think, I want to go back in a tight passage. Yes. We found this. Jacob found this. Why don't you tell him the story, buddy?
So what happened was we were hiking back from Death Drop, hiking to Death Drop, freezing our butts off. And I fall, and then I catch myself on a tree. I'm like, what did I fall in? I move the brush. It's a hole about that big, but it goes 10 feet down. And it was from a tree cast, or where a tree gets surrounded by lava. And then what's left is just a hollow hole. And so the farther down you go, the wider it gets. There's a dead deer on the bottom. I'm like, hey, that thing has antlers. We hop down, rip off its head. Here it is. Pull, claw out one by one. Same with this paw. There we go.